Hey guys, Dr. Palmieri here, and I'm here today using a screencast to talk to you more about your 10th and 11th grade corporate work study capstone project. So I've been working really closely with Miss Goodell, our director of work study, on what this final project for the class is going to look like, and we are rolling it out to you in early February, so you have enough time to complete this by mid-May. So it may seem a little bit daunting, but it is really your final project and you have 4 months to work on it, so don't think it needs to be done tomorrow. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to recap what the project is, and I'd like you to try to watch this video prior to meeting Miss Goodell and myself in the Innovation Center next week. Mr. O is going to come get you out of your learning hubs next week, and small groups are going to come into the Innovation Center so we can clarify and answer any of your questions about this project. It is very heavy use of technology, use of Google Apps, some digital media, some Google spreadsheets in terms of budgeting, and then we're going to ask you at the finale of this project to put a concept poster together. This is really important because this concept poster is going to be shown at an event on May 18th for what's called Remake Learning Days. And during this event on May 18th, your work study supervisors, your parents, your guardians, your friends, and the public will be invited to what we're calling our Capstone Student-Led Exhibition. And it will be a poster that describes your proposed solution to a problem or an issue that you saw in your work study placement site. Okay, so not only is it going to be used for that, but two other really important things. The first thing is you can win a $5,000 scholarship from this project. This is the project that's going to be used for the St. Joseph the Workers Scholarship Awards. And remember, you were able to use that scholarship for anything post Holy Family Academy. You could use it to buy your first vehicle. You could use it to go to college. You could use it to go to a trade school. Whatever it is that you decide to do with this $5,000, it's not restricted. It's going to be for your post-secondary success. So that's one thing. The second thing is I am really excited that Holy Family Academy is actually being recognized as a national model of school innovation, and we will be a part of a group of study tours for teachers and administrators from across the United States that will be in Pittsburgh in early May, early to mid-May, for what's called the Schools That Can National Forum. And so the top projects from both 10th and 11th grade will be invited to demonstrate their poster and present their work to major players from across the United States. So this is a huge networking opportunity, and I'm looking forward to making sure that you guys have that opportunity. So what I want to do is make sure you understand where all these files are and what this looks like. You are going to go to a folder called Capstone Project Requirements and Resources. This is going to be in the Shared With Me section of Google Drive. So once you load the first file, it's called a 10th and 11th grade work study capstone project. I want to make sure you realize that this is a required project. It is not optional. This is your final for the work study class, if you will. You do get a grade that does count towards graduation requirements. And I do want to note that if you currently are on a student improvement plan or have an SIP for some accommodation that you might need, Ms. Petrosky will work with you individually on this project to make sure that you're successful. Okay, so let's go through and look at each one of the sections. The first thing that you're going to do is you are going to create a Google Doc inside of your Google Drive. So you're going to do New Google Doc, and you are going to title this Google Doc Work Study Capstone Project dash your last name. So if your last name is Dennis, for example, then you'll put Work Study Capstone Project dash Dennis as the name of the main file that you're going to use to collect all of the things for this project. So the next thing you're going to do is you are going to interview your work study supervisor first and foremost to try to identify a challenge that they either have in the workplace. It could be something small. It could be anything from like the water in the water fountain isn't cold enough, to we always run out of pens, to our energy bills are really high because the lights are always on, or nobody knows how to recycle the right way, or something even really just related to the workplace. Like let's say you work at FedEx and their problem is that we keep having misscans on packages smaller than 10 inches. Okay, so you are going to identify a problem that you uncover based off of interviewing, based off of observation, and any other quote unquote looking method that you might want to use from the Luma Institute method set. So I've also gotten word. So I've heard that some of you are unsure what Luma is, which is a little bit surprising to me because every 10th grader is in a class called Integrated Design Lab, and every 11th grader has had that already. So in that class, you were learning what's called the Luma System of Innovating for People. And Luma stands for Look, Understand, Make, and Advance. I've heard some students sometimes say, like, what's the point of this class, or why are we doing this? You are doing this because this is a skill set in the future that is equally important to being able to write, equally important to being able to do and understand math, and it's really setting you apart. So if anything, it's actually giving you a huge advantage over teens and other peers your age. So Luma, and we're going to look at their website here real quick. Okay, we'll go to Luma's website. You can go there and read more about them if you want, but basically what Luma did is they came up with a number of methods that you can use to solve problems. So you could check out the video on their site if you want to.
All around us, our world is becoming more complex and more competitive, with disruptions coming at us from all directions. This creates new problems that need new solutions, whether they're for our products, our processes, or how we interact with customers and colleagues. It's great when people are collaborative and energized, creating solutions no one has thought of before. But that doesn't always happen. Sometimes we get stuck on figuring out exactly what the problem even is. We have presentations and discussions, but still can't agree on our priorities. And we build things that sound great at the start, but turn out to be something the people we made them for can't even use. But what if there were a different way of working that empowers everyone to solve problems faster with better results? Luma has created a unique and practical framework for working this way called the Luma System of Innovation. It starts with a deeply held belief that any individual, team, or organization can be innovative. They just might not know how. So we built an easy-to-learn, flexible, and repeatable system around 3 key design skills: looking, where we observe the human experience; understanding, when we analyze problems and opportunities; and making, how we envision future possibilities. When people are looking, understanding, and making, they can quickly frame problems, gain...
Okay, so you get the point. If you want to read more, their website is out here. It's luma-institute.com. So the first thing you're going to do is you are, by February 20th, going to go to your work study site and you are going to interview your work study supervisor. I would suggest you think about another looking method, things like observation. That's one of them. You can get a copy of the Luma booklets or cards from Ms. Goodell, Mrs. Alvarez, myself, or Mr. O. We will have those. We're also, when we bring you into the Innovation Center next week from Learning Hub, we're going to give you a copy of a couple of files on paper because we know some of you might prefer to see this on paper. Now, what's going to be very important is that you are going to be able to use the templates that we provide in this document. So when you click on any of the links that are embedded into the document that Ms. Goodell and I created, you will see you can print out these templates. There is a printer connected to your Chromebooks in the HFA Innovation Center. So a lot of you don't use the printer, but it's there, so you can print these templates out. So that interview, I will challenge you not to just jump to a solution right away based off of one interview. You need to spend a little bit more time than that. What you're going to do after you experience some of these looking methods is you're going to write your challenge statement. Before you get to that though, I want to show you a few things. I want to show you that we actually have given you an example of what some of the methods are that you might be able to use. So this file is also shared, and this really makes it easy to see that within looking, understanding, and making, there's 36 different methods. I also included a link underneath the notes section, which will take you to another website that explains what all these methods are. So let's say before February 20th, you did an interview, you did fly on the wall observation, you did what's on your radar. Well, guess what? You already have 3 methods of your minimum of 6 done. What I would say is for the most part, you're going to probably do closer to 8 or 9 methods as a part of this project, but we want you to at minimum to do 6. Okay, so you might say, well, what does Dr. Palmieri mean by this method set thing? So you're going to have to pick methods from looking, understanding, and making to identify and solve a problem as a part of your final project. So you can see in this example that the person that came up with this method set said that they were going to do stakeholder mapping. Then they were going to do some type of observation. From there, they were going to ask people in their workplace, what is on your radar? What are you thinking about related to some type of topic? So again, let's go back to my examples. Let's say you have really thought about the fact that all year you've been hearing people at your work study site talk about the fact there's no recycling there. So maybe recycling is like the theme of what your project is going to be about. So maybe you use a what's on your radar activity to ask people at work what they think about recycling. That could be an example of something that you might use to understand their need. And then in terms of other methods here, you can see that this person used what's called persona profile, experience diagramming, rose, thorn, bud, and then the difficulty impact matrix. We can go on to another example and see that they used a whole different set of methods. So we will help you with this. You can come to any of us and we will approve your methods. And what we want you to do is actually put that on a project planning template. So you will see that there is a project planning template. Here's what it looks like. All of you will need to make sure that all of the methods that you're using are on here and that a career coach, Mrs. Alvarez, Ms. Goodell, Mr. O, or or myself are approving that for you. And on here, what you're going to see is the name of your project, the methods that you're going to choose to use, who's involved, where you're either doing this method or who you're doing it with, what you need, what your budgetary requirements are, and what the timeline might be. So if I was looking at this, I might say like February, I am going to talk to my work study supervisor and I'm going to use the looking method of interviewing. So you're going to sketch that all out on this project plan, okay? So that's included on there. After you're done with that, what you're going to do is you are going to write your statement starter. So your statement starter, we're going to change the date on this too. And the statement starter is going to be something where you're going to define what your challenge statement is, okay? We want you to put that into an essay format. So you will need to make sure that you have 6 methods minimum selected. Make sure they're on your project planning template, and we also have a frequently used method link here. That's going to take you out to this one that I showed you already. Then what you're going to do next, that's going to be due March 17th, so that project planning worksheet, March 17th. What you're going to do next is you're going to think about the finances required to make your solution become a reality. So as I've gone into your integrated design lab classes, I've heard you guys talk about ideas that are not really realistic in terms of budget, ability to be managed and sustained. So you really want to think small. Think about a small little thing that you're proposing. Not that you can't dream big. I want you to dream big, but I also want you to be realistic about what that big thing or that little thing is going to cost. So in step 4, you are going to create a budget using Google Sheets. So again, you'll go back into Google for this and you're going to say new Google Sheets. Okay? And so you're going to create a Google spreadsheet. And you are going to outline your estimated costs for the proposed solution that you're coming up with. Okay? And as a part of that, you are also going to be able to ask your math teachers, your supervisor, or one of the other folks I've mentioned before for help. We want you to create a graph in your spreadsheet in the form of a pie chart or a bar chart that outlines the cost categories. You can click on the chart tutorial here to see what that's all about. That's going to be due March 31st. Step 5, you are going to create a 2-minute video or animoto explanation of your problem statement, your challenge statement, and your proposed solution. So let's say one of your making methods that you selected was called storyboarding. Okay, so if you selected storyboarding as one of your making methods and you're trying to figure out that recycling problem I told you about earlier, maybe you storyboard a hypothetical way the people at your work study site are engaging in recycling. So let's say you have that storyboard. You could even include that, hold it up, in your physical video or take a photo of it and put it in an Animoto. We want you to have visuals as a part of this video. Okay, we hope these videos are so great we'll be able to put them on the HFA website and include them on our social media platforms. That's going to be due April 13th. Then you have pretty much a month to build a conference style display digitally. No hand-drawn posters are allowed. You could have some hand-drawn elements, but we do want you to scan them and actually put them as a photo on some sort of eventually, finally digital piece. The poster is going to be an exhibit at that event I told you about at the beginning of this video. We have created some samples for you to take a look at. This gives you an idea of a poster that another student has created in a different school. They have examples of all the different design methods they used. They talked about their research process. They talked about what the staff at their work study and what their clients might be saying. This is an example of another project, the way somebody has it laid out. Here's an example of a product that somebody decided to create after identifying a workplace problem. So they created something for their work study site called Paper Cake. And this is something they designed to help people stay organized in the workplace after hearing the managers in the workplace setting talk about their staff being unorganized. So as you can see, they've actually done a wireframe. That would be a making method called schematic diagramming. That would be one of their 6 if they decided to use that, and they're using it as a visual on their concept poster. Now, if you're not a graphic design person or you're not artsy or whatever the case may be, we also created a template for you. So at the bare minimum, you can really use Google Presentation. You can go and create a new Google presentation and just make sure it looks like this. It has the title of the project, your name and graduation year. And again, if you're in 11th grade, you graduate hopefully in 2018, or if you're in 10th grade, it's 2019. You're going to list your design methods, so the minimum of 6. You're probably going to use more than 6. You're going to list those and provide any evidence or photos or artifacts. What is an artifact? Let's say you did a what's on your radar diagram at work. Take that template with the Post-its on it, bring it in. Let's say you did a round robin with your Learning Hub classmates, and they gave you feedback about ideas as a part of a round robin method. You could take a photo of that or include it in your poster. You're going to have your challenge statement. Try to frame your challenge statement in the form of a statement starter using the phrase, how might we? So let's go back to the recycling example. Maybe it is, how might we cut down paper waste costs at my work study site by developing a weekly shredding program. That's your how might we statement, okay? And then what you're going to do below is you're going to describe or illustrate your proposed solution. You could put stakeholders on there, you could put a timeline, and one really great way to think about that is to actually use the concept poster template from Luma. So that's already there for you. You can see these photos, some students standing next to posters they designed, and imagine this is going to be you. You're going to be standing next to your poster at this student-led exhibition, and it's going to basically look like this, where each of you are going to have a table, and your poster presentation is going to be up, and we're going to ask you to stand near it. So that'll also help you practice your public speaking skills. So last but not least, this poster at the latest is going to be due on May 15th. And then on May 18th, you're going to do that presentation. You're not going to stand in front of a room of 100 people and present individually. You're just going to be standing next to your poster and random people are going to come up to you. So it's actually less intimidating that way because you're not doing it in front of a whole huge audience. I know some of you maybe have a little bit of stage fright. So that's going to take place on May 18th, and those visitors are going to be asked to give you feedback and rate their top solutions, presentations, and posters. They will write comment cards where they submit those, and that's actually how we're going to choose the St. Joseph the Worker Scholarship winners. So it's very exciting. The St. Joseph the Worker Scholarship Award ceremony is on May 25th. And you can look at the rubric on how you're going to be graded. You're either going to get 0 points, you're going to get 3 points, or you're going to get a full 5. This is a 100-point project. It is your final for the entire work study program this year. And like I said, the St. Joseph the Worker Award is on May 25th from 12 to 2. So this is a long video, I know, but this is a big project. So review it, watch it again if you need to, come see us for help, and we'll be starting to pull you out of Learning Hub next week. Okay, guys, have a good one.